Hello there, you're watching World News Program. I'm Mariam Zian, and these are the headlines. Gunfire and fireworks light up Beirut as the ceasefire with the Zionist entity takes effect, while Zionist artillery continues shelling areas in southern Lebanon after the ceasefire took effect, according to Lebanese media. On the ninth day of the ceasefire agreement between the United States and Iran, Tehran confirms the gap with Washington is narrowing following Pakistani mediation, and Trump says a deal is close to be finalized. In Algeria, President Tebboune reaffirms the move toward modern university governance and high-quality scientific partnerships, stressing that Algeria is consolidating its position among knowledge-producing nations with scientific research and innovation at the core of its strategic priorities. Hello there and welcome back. A 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and the Zionist occupation is now in effect. Earlier today, US President Donald Trump said that Lebanon and the Zionist occupation will officially begin a 10-day ceasefire starting at 5 p.m. Eastern US time. Trump said on Truth Social that he held excellent talks with Lebanese President Joseph Aoun and the Prime Minister of the Zionist occupation, Benjamin Netanyahu, confirming their agreement on the truce. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun urged US President Donald Trump to help reach a ceasefire in Lebanon during the first call between the two leaders. According to a statement issued Thursday by the Lebanese presidency, Aoun held separate phone calls with Trump and Marco Rubio on Thursday afternoon, thanking them for their efforts to reach a ceasefire in Lebanon to secure lasting peace and stability, paving the way for a broader peace process in the region. And at least 8 people in Lebanon were killed and others wounded in a Zionist airstrike targeting the town of Gaza in Sidon district in southern Lebanon. Lebanon's national news agency confirmed on Thursday evening that the occupation committed a massacre against civilians in the town, leaving 8 civilians dead, others injured, and several still missing, as research operations continue under the rubble. And a Lebanese security official reported that a Zionist strike targeted the last bridge link in the south of the country to other regions. The official told Reuters on Thursday that the strike completely destroyed the bridge, rendering it unusable and threatening to sever one of the most vital connection routes in southern Lebanon. The Lebanese army also announced that 1 person was killed and others injured in a strike by the Zionist occupation targeting the Qasmiya bridge in the south. In a statement Thursday, the army said the targeting of the Qasmiya bridge by the occupation aims to isolate and separate the area south of the Litani River from the north. And Lebanon's Ministry of Health announced that 2,196 people have been killed and 7,185 injured in the Zionist occupation's aggression against the country since March 2. According to a statement Thursday, 29 people were killed and 124 injured in the past 24 hours alone. Hezbollah announced that it had fired a barrage of rockets at a gathering of Zionist occupation forces east of the town of Rab 30 and another city of Khiyam in southern Lebanon. The group also said it launched rockets at the settlement of Kfar Giladi in northern occupied Palestine and at an artillery position there, in addition to targeting the Ras Nakhura site on the northwestern edge of the Lebanon-occupied Palestine border with a swarm of drones. And the leader of Ansar Allah, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, said the current truce came as a result of the United States and the Zionist entity being compelled to accept it after what he described as their major failure to achieve their objectives. In a speech on Wednesday, al-Houthi stated that Washington and the Zionist entity were forced into the truce after suffering losses in manpower and military equipment and the destruction of U.S. bases in the region.
The enemy is forced to calm down after the great losses on the level of the soldiers and of the human force, where hundreds of American officers and soldiers were killed and injured. Also, the loss of military equipment and the destruction of American military bases in the region. It is known that the Americans have lost dozens of various planes during their aggression against the Islamic Republic in Iran.
And Iran affirmed that talks with its side cannot be fruitful unless Iran's rights and interests are recognized and its dignity respected. During a mass rally in Tehran in support of the government and condemning U.S. Zionist attacks on Iran, Mohammad al-Salami, head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization, stressed that negotiations based on what he called deception and a lack of commitment cannot succeed.
Now that the war has taken place, the negotiation that follows should be one in which the rights and interests of the Iranian nation are acknowledged. If Iran's rights and interests, which are the legal rights of a nation, are recognized and its dignity respected, naturally the negotiation can be fruitful. But if it continues, as it usually does, relying on deception and in fact on a lack of commitment and failure to adhere to agreements and set terms, then it naturally cannot succeed.
The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump expressed optimism on Wednesday about the possibility of reaching an agreement to end the war with Iran. White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt said during a press conference that Pakistan-mediated discussions are productive and ongoing. She denied that the United States had formally requested an extension of the announced two-week ceasefire.
So I saw some reporting, again, bad reporting this morning, that we had formally requested an extension of the ceasefire. That is not true at this moment. We've remained very much engaged in these negotiations, in these talks. You heard from the Vice President directly and the President this week that these conversations are productive and ongoing, and that's where we are right now.
The spokesperson added that further direct talks have not yet been confirmed, but are likely to be held again in Pakistan.
I've also seen some reporting about the potentiality for in-person discussions again. Those discussions are being had, but nothing is official until you hear it from us here at the White House. But we feel good about the prospects of a deal. The President mentioned that in his interview yesterday. And it's obviously in the best interest of Iran to meet the President's demands. I think he's made his red lines in these negotiations very clear to the other side. And so we are continuing to see how these conversations go.
And Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed that it will continue its efforts in the coming days to facilitate dialogue between the U.S. and Iran, stressing the need for the two sides to maintain their commitment to the ceasefire agreement. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Tahir Andrabi said Thursday that Islamabad is working to ensure the continuation of talks between Washington and Tehran, noting that meetings with the foreign ministers of Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey helped facilitate negotiations between the two sides.
You would recall that in his remarks at the conclusion of these talks, the Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Mohammad Ishaq Dar, had expressed hope that the two sides would continue with the positive spirit to achieve durable peace and prosperity in the entire region and beyond. It is imperative that the parties continue to uphold their commitment to ceasefire. The DPM has also reiterated that Pakistan has been and will continue to play its role to facilitate engagement and dialogue between the two countries in the days to come.
Pakistan also confirmed that no date has yet been set for the second round of expected talks between the United States and Iran. Spokesperson for Pakistan's foreign ministry said Thursday that the nuclear issue is among the key topics between or being discussed by the two countries. To Palestine, or occupied Palestine now, 3 Palestinians, including 2 brothers, were killed and others injured by fire from Zionist occupation forces on Thursday in the northern Gaza Strip. Local Palestinian sources cited media outlets reported that a Zionist drone targeted a group of Palestinians near Abu Tamam school in Beit Lahia, killing 2 brothers and wounding others. Another Palestinian later died from injuries sustained in a separate Zionist strike that targeted a police vehicle on Al-Nafaq Street in Gaza City. In other news, Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune affirmed that a new and victorious Algeria is steadily moving toward establishing modern university governance based on efficiency and accountability. In a message marking the award ceremony of the President of the Republic Prize for the Innovative Researcher 2nd edition on the occasion of the Knowledge Day, read on his behalf by Prime Minister Ceasefire, President Tebboune stressed that this strategic direction includes greater openness to international standards and the building of high-quality scientific partnerships, ensuring Algerian universities are positioned within leading academic and research spaces.
The ceremony we are holding today, in addition to its symbolic significance in praising and celebrating excellence and distinction, is also a prominent milestone in a new path for our country, which strives to achieve comprehensive and sustainable development. It goes without saying that the world today has entered a new phase, in which the power of countries is measured by their ability to produce knowledge, control technology, and valorize the results of scientific research. From this standpoint, the new and victorious Algeria is steadily moving towards establishing a modern university governance based on efficiency and accountability, and on the continuous improvement of the quality of education, the strengthening of openness to international standards, and the building of high-quality scientific partnerships in order to ensure the positioning of our universities and laboratories within academic spaces and pioneering research.
President Abdelmajid Tebboune also affirmed that the state is steadily working to consolidate Algeria's position among countries that produce knowledge rather than merely consume it. He explained that the President of the Republic Prize for the Innovative Researcher is not just an honor, but a message from a state that believes in its capabilities and a clear expression of the will to link scientific research to economic development through the support of innovation.
You're gathering today within the halls of the Scientific and Technological Hub Abdelhafid Ihdaden in Sidi Abdullah is not merely an academic occasion, but a clear expression of the state's orientation and the will of its institutions, which are steadily striving to consolidate Algeria's position among the nations that produce knowledge rather than merely consume it, and that harness technology rather than simply import it. This meeting coincides with the commemoration of the Knowledge Day, which falls on April 16th of each year, where we reverently recall the legacy of Imam Abdelhamid bin Badis, who realized early on that the battle for liberation begins in schools, and that building the individual is the solid foundation for building nations. The President of the Republic's Award for Innovative Researcher is not merely an honor, but a message from a nation that believes in its talents, and a reflection of a clear will to link scientific research with economic development through supporting innovation, encouraging patent registration, supporting the establishment of startups, and creating a nurturing environment that enables the researcher to turn ideas into a product which is proudly made in Algeria.
President Tebboune further emphasized that the Algerian state continues to strengthen funding allocated to scientific research and university infrastructure, adding that universities and research laboratories represent the driving force of this innovation dynamic.
لقد جعلت الدولة الجزائرية البحث والابتكار في صميم أولوياتها الاستراتيجية
The Algerian state has placed scientific research and innovation at the heart of its strategic priorities, where university institutions and research laboratories represent the beating heart of this innovative dynamic. To this end, we have strengthened and continue to strengthen funding allocated to scientific research, university infrastructure, and awarding distinctions to our most outstanding professors, researchers, and talented students. In conclusion, on this important scientific occasion, in which we celebrate science and honor an elite group of Algeria's finest talents, I am pleased to extend my sincere congratulations to the winners of this award, and I urge you to be role models for your peers, as you are ambassadors of change and the generation that is building our new present and our bright future.
The Algerian Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Kamal Badari, said Thursday that President Abdelmajid Tebboune understands that a new Algeria can only be built on two pillars: an innovative mind and a qualified human being. Speaking during the award ceremony of the President's Prize for the Innovative Researchers Second Edition, held at the Scientific and Technological Hub in Sidi Abdallah, Algiers, the minister highlighted that Algeria has become a country actively participating in the course of civilization and humanity.
لقد أدرك الفاضل السيد رئيس الجمهورية.
The esteemed President of the Republic has realized that the new Algeria can only be built on two fundamental pillars. Firstly, a qualified individual, and secondly, a creative and innovative mind. This is why the President of the Republic's Prize for Innovative Researchers came to honor Algerian researchers and youth.
President Abdelmajid Tebboune appointed Lounès Bouzegza as Minister of Irrigation, according to a statement from the Algerian presidency on Thursday. The statement added that President Tebboune assigned Masoud Boulara, Secretary General of Naama province, to serve as acting governor of the province. The Algerian Minister of State and Minister of Foreign Affairs Ahmed Attaf arrived in Turkey on an official mission to represent Algeria at the 5th edition of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum. The event, scheduled from April 17 to 19, 2026, under the theme Shaping the Future and Navigating Uncertainties, will include a series of thematic workshops led by government officials, academics, and prominent media figures to discuss key international issues. On the sidelines of the forum, Attaf is expected to hold bilateral talks with foreign ministers from several brotherly and friendly countries, as well as officials from international organizations. The Algerian Army Chief of Staff, General Saïd Chengri, has said global geopolitical shifts have created a complex and uncertain international environment. Speaking at a security conference in Nimesous, he stressed that advances in cybersecurity, AI, and data are reshaping power dynamics, with control over research and knowledge and now key to global influence.
This scientific event falls within the framework of the persistent efforts exerted by the various structures and components of the People's National Army to consolidate a culture of proactive thinking and strengthen the mechanisms of strategic and security foresight. This allows for an understanding of the transformations taking place in the world and a grasp of their various dimensions and potential repercussions on our country's security, stability, and vital interests. These transformations have led to the emergence of an international environment characterized by a high degree of complexity, interconnectedness, strategic uncertainty, and increasing competition for resources and spheres of influence, particularly through the adoption of new tools for influence and pressure. In this context, the rapid developments in the fields of cyberspace, artificial intelligence, and data management have contributed to reshaping the logic of power, where control over search and development and knowledge production has become a decisive factor in determining the balance of power and influence in international relations. Furthermore, mastery of foresight tools and the development of proactive scenarios constitute key elements for strategic and security decision-making and for raising the level of maturity of the state's public policy.
والرفع من مستويات نضج السياسة العامة للدولة.
Army Chief of Staff General Saeed Shingri also stressed that Algeria continues to strengthen its strategic vigilance by adopting proactive approaches to address various challenges, ensuring it remains a reliable international partner and an active player in its geosecurity environment.
في خضم هذه التحولات
Amid these transformations, Algeria continues to strengthen its strategic vigilance by adopting a proactive approach to addressing various challenges, ensuring it remains a reliable international partner and an active player in the geosecurity field. In the same vein, our valiant army, under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, and Minister of National Defense, continues its efforts to enhance and improve its operational readiness, continuously upgrade its military equipment, and modernize its systems. This ensures its enduring capacity to effectively confront all forms of current and future threats, making our country a bastion of security and stability.
للأمن والاستقرار.
Director General of National Security in Algeria, Ali Badawi, held talks in Algiers with the head of the German Federal Police, Dr. Dieter Roman, on ways to enhance and develop police cooperation mechanisms, particularly in border management, combating irregular migration, and managing major events. A statement from Algeria's General Directorate of National Security said the talks took place on the sidelines of Badawi's meeting with a German security official who is visiting Algeria at the head of a police delegation.
With regard to border management, which constitutes a fundamental pillar in the prospects of Algerian-German police cooperation, securing and protecting border facilities, both land and air, represents an important focus of this partnership. The same applies to the exchange of information on patterns of crime occurring at these crossings, leading to the precise monitoring and tracking of the movement and return of foreign terrorists and high-risk criminals. All these factors call for strengthening capacities and detection and containment mechanisms, followed by the analysis of both traditional and emergent risks, while ensuring the highest standards of institutional coordination and international and regional cooperation adopted by Algeria.
We can say that we have a well-established history of cooperation, and we should look toward the future. This certainly includes international cooperation on all issues related to cross-border and border threats. This includes, for example, illegal migration, human trafficking networks, document forgery, as well as the issue of wanted persons. Our discussions also covered matters such as the field of drones. Both sides can only benefit from a closer exchange of our expertise, and this is very important.
The 17th General Assembly of the African Union of Broadcasting opened Thursday in Banjul, featuring high-level legal sessions. Delegates representing more than 40 countries and over 80 organizations are taking part, with discussions focusing on the future vision of the radio and television broadcasting sector in Africa. Participants are also addressing major challenges facing the media industry, for most among them the high cost of sports broadcasting rights and the search for sustainable funding models to ensure the continuity of media institutions amid digital transformation. The African broadcasters are operating in a rapidly evolving global media landscape shaped by accelerating digital transformation and intensifying competition. Our own Marwa Belaiwer gathered this report for us from Banjul.
In Banjul, the 17th General Assembly of the African Union of Broadcasting has brought together media leaders from across the continent to shape the future of the sector. The meeting brings together delegates from more than 40 countries, alongside a wide range of African media organizations. Algeria is strongly represented at this continental gathering, reflecting its active engagement in strengthening cooperation within African broadcasting structures. The assembly marks the opening of high-level discussions on the sector's strategic direction.
Algeria has been phenomenal. They've been very supportive to the Gambia government and to GRTS.
And today, you people are here, other people are here representing Algeria. We are trying to partner, discuss with them how best we can strengthen our relations. Because African media, our belief is we can't make it if we don't cooperate. We have to cooperate more.
Under the theme Heritage, Innovation and Transformation, the focus is on modernizing African media systems while preserving identity and reinforcing editorial independence.
This General Assembly has the noble task of probing the past, the present, and future of African media services within the context of rapid technological advancement and evolving public expectation.
Discussions center on digital transition, content development, and the growing influence of global platforms on African audiences. Key issues include the rising cost of sports broadcasting rights and the need to develop more sustainable financing models for both public and private media. Artificial intelligence is also high on the session's agenda, as broadcasters explore how to integrate new technologies to improve production and efficiency while maintaining editorial control. Beyond technical debates, the Assembly reflects a shared ambition, strengthening Africa's ability to produce, manage, and project its own narratives in a highly competitive global information space. As discussions continue, the focus remains on turning strategic debates into concrete action, supporting a more connected, innovative, and resilient African broadcasting ecosystem.
That's a wrap for tonight's newscast. Thank you for watching and have a great night.